Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars Director's Cut. I suppose it's worth admitting now that in the first recording of this series, I was very, very confused playing this scene, because I played this game before, but I've never played the Director's Cut, and this scene is acted for it. So throughout the first 30 minutes of recording, I was really, really terrified I had played the wrong game, like the sequel or something, out of order. And I had to actually go look it up and make sure I was playing the right game. Fortunately, I'm right. This is the first game in the series of the Broken Sword series. And we're trying to investigate this murder that happened by a mime as this character that we don't even actually play as for the whole game. We just got this key, so we can use this key here. That probably also
now
means...
we were getting somewhere.
It probably also means that you couldn't play the director's cut in the Scum VM emulator virtual machine. It's maybe not actually an emulator. Because of the new files, and that explains the custom launcher here. But here we go into his office that the wife never went into, and we're going to start investigating. Let's see, we have this to search. We have a light switch to search. Let's try that. Start with the light switch.
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already.
Interesting.
The painting showed the Carchons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie?
So it looks like there's a
There was
keyhole
the
here.
very faintest of clicks.
Seems like something clicked, but I don't know what.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on this sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why.
Let's come over here and look at this. There's almost nothing in this room. It's just a
As
sitting
expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision.
So it seems almost like these rooms aren't even used.
My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Carchon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda.
So just steal it, okay. So, good thing that wasn't an ivory elephant.
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
So, we've got to figure out how to rub like a pencil on this to see what he was writing.
I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it.
So if we look at this, maybe there's a secret here.
No.
Nope. Well, if I put this here, then we've got paint.
I'd spread blue paint over the bottom of the tray. It was ruined. I was a very bad, bad girl, but also quite a clever one.
And then, let's see, maybe I can use this now.
No.
Maybe I could use this.
No.
So, I doubt the key works
no.
there. So we've made a little bit of progress to that puzzle, but not much so far. Not all the way done.
Locked. Not surprising, really.
All the doors are locked. Let's see if the key works.
It didn't work, but I guess it would have been surprising if it had.
So, as we're looking around, you kind of need this element.
It was a back door.
Now, if I right-click, I'll look at things instead of left-clicking to interact with them. So this is a simplified point-and-click
Behind
adventure.
the picture was a safe.
Warren's safe go. Well, we have the key, but we probably don't have the combination. Nope, don't need the combination. Cool. So we'll take this.
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring.
So, what's interesting about the story is they keep asking her if she has morals, but any point-and-click adventure game, you're going to end up picking up a lot of things and holding on to them for longer than you should. So, the idea of stealing always occurs. At least they're addressing it somewhat here. So, theoretically, this with this on the blotter paper should reveal something, and that
I
might
rolled
be
the artifact in the paint until it was completely coated.
It feels like there might be a solution. So it feels like we might solve this first scene just doing this. And they
Genius.
spend a lot of
The
effort to
roller and the
animate
pen
all
worked
this.
just as I planned. But what did it say?
It says sub something.
It was some kind of coded message. It read, sub judice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time.
That would be a Pulitzer Prize. Maybe there's another fancy prize. So we get another sentence. And I think we can now probably just leave, because I doubt there's anything more.
Locked. Not surprising, really.
We want to be thorough, certainly. It's kind of weird that there's a button here and it doesn't even...
I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already.
See, if we look at it,
Even the light switch looked impressive.
it's just looking at things that are red herrings. So I don't believe there's any reason to stay here. We'll talk to her, we'll give her everything back, and then we should leave.
Did you find anything useful?
This carving, do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know. He was given it.
By a friend. Something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No. But I think it was important to him. Always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask,
Don't worry. You were never here.
sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the conciergerie, it would have to be from there.
I suppose it's worth mentioning, yes, there is a lot of
Carchon wasn't the type
French
for messing about
accents
on the
here,
river.
since she's
He was
French.
up to something down here. Something that got him killed.
So this scene also is new, so I've never played it before. We haven't actually even hit the beginning of the game in the non-director's cut version. Let's see.
The conciergerie. Former royal palace, prison and law courts. And also home to the busiest guillotine in the French Revolution.
So let's look at our inventory. We have not lost a single item, which is interesting. And we just have a couple of items it looks like we can click on the screen. So not too confusing what to do.
An old boyfriend of mine owned a barge once. Dampest relationship I ever had. In every way.
This is, you could really ruin a point-and-click adventure game by causing there to be too many items to interact with, making it slow and tedious
fence
trying to
wouldn't
figure
move.
out the right move. It often is a problem in point-and-click adventure games that you have to figure out what the creators of the game's idea was, not just create your own idea. Often you'll find solutions or think of solutions yourself and it just won't play out like that.
It was the old boathouse for the conciergerie. If I was right about the meaning of sub judice, then the answer had to lie somewhere here on the quayside. This fence wouldn't move either.
So it looks like we could walk up in this area to and possibly enter a new section, but we can see this looks like this might be our entrance. Let's come all the way over here and see how far we can get the screen to swing. Ah, that's as far as it goes. Alright.
The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Carchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track.
So the cloth played a bigger role than we thought.
I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate.
So when we have this, we have S D S S D D S. Let's look here. You must move the rectangle blanks so the latch can slide all the way across, so releasing the gate. Blocks move along their length, some vertically, some horizontally. So I know this game, it's typically called traffic, and each block would represent different lengths of cars. Of course, this game has been around way before cars existed. To move a block, click on it and drag it horizontally or vertically along the appropriate axis. And that's actually kind of surprising that this would work at all. So, in a puzzle like this, it's about how much you can move, and every little change affects that. So, doing something like this leaves a spot open here, where I can then move this, and then this, and then this, And then move this up. And this. And then, let's see, move this over here. And then move this here. And then this back down here. Then this here. And this here. And then this. And then that. And then that. And then that. And that's the solution to the puzzle.
Yes! One down, one to go.
So, not incredibly difficult, but I could see people struggling with that, particularly if they haven't done this type of game before. Let's see. Same instructions before, not being said out loud. One of the things that I do think I have to offer as a video game critic is my experience of playing video games over many decades. And surely people here, certain players would not have this ability, may have never seen this before, because these little mini games somewhat are falling out of fashion. You wouldn't see something like Halo throw in a puzzle like this. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense. And see, I think I'm gonna have to slowly adjust this one all the way to the end, nudge it as much as possible. Let's see, and manipulate the pieces so that they decide to flow in the right directions. That one, and then that one, and then that one, and then that, and then that, and that.
Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills.
And that solves that problem. Not a very secure system, though. I suppose if you made a lock, say 400 or 500 years ago, the amount of knowledge required wouldn't exist in a layman to be able to do those puzzles. But then, without guards stopping people, or people spying on other people, or just writing, making a copy of the puzzle through sticks and stones, and then figuring it out in a different place, it seems like even a layman with enough time and desire could get through this door, and there's better ways to protect it.
For a room full of junk, that was one very sophisticated lock system. This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one.
And she's talking to herself throughout the game here, and almost as if she's writing the article in her head.
I really didn't want to pull the fence back up and risk trapping myself in this place.
Okay. One of the factors here is, since she's all alone and has no partner, she has to talk to herself to tell the player what she's thinking and what she's doing. Particularly with the resolution not being as high and the scale being kind of small. I could see people with poor eyesight not being able to figure out what's going on. So this...
I'd wrecked the skiff. Not that it was particularly seaworthy anyway.
So it seems almost like I'm gonna push this back up for some reason, or do something with this. No, there was something under it. That's what why I knocked it over. Sometimes you just do something.
I wondered what that was doing there.
And you don't even know what you're doing. And let's see, we're on to page 3 now. And we have a new chapter, found a shell case. And we're almost to page 4. Let's look here.
The words sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, left, right. But what did it mean here?
So Sinister and Dexter are Roman for left, right, left, right. I wouldn't know that. That's so. We'll put the shell case in the middle and see if that can be our knob. It didn't work. Interesting.
The hole was too small even for my little hand.
So maybe this? Nope. I guess it's nothing. Alright, so we have SDSSDSS. If I'm...
Rolling out the painted cylinder, it read, Sub Judice. Below it was a sequence of letters, SDSSDSS.
Okay. So, S.
Nothing happened.
D.
Nothing happened.
S.
Nothing happened.
S.
Nothing happened.
D.
Nothing happened.
S.
Nothing happened.
And see if this works. I'm going to be a little bit surprised that they said nothing happened each time.
Nothing happened.
The brass case was smooth and perfectly round.
Maybe we put the key in here. Nope. Maybe we put the key with this.
No.
And I don't think this would matter or fit. Maybe we put this in here. Ah! It was more than just
Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder slotted into the hole with a satisfying click.
So now it should work.
A satisfying click told me I turned it to the right position. It felt like tumblers in a safe.
Interesting.
Another click. Another step closer.
So every right move is going to step you through it. So if you actually didn't figure out the solution, you could probably just brute force this. Now it stops telling you. One more should win this.
I love the sound of locks clicking open.
And that opens the door. We didn't even have the opportunity to look at the door because we solved it so fast. Well, now you're in a weird position because if I walk through the door, some action might occur and conversation might occur and other things might occur, and I don't want any of that, so I'm gonna just go ahead and click this, save it again, and I would like to see exactly how much we've played so far. 8%, 6 hours and 30 minutes? Not really. I leave the game running, so that's why that happened. So that's gonna be it for this recording. I have to applaud them for having a link to purchase the music too. It's pretty good music. I guess all games should have that. Might as well. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps out. If you want to support me further, go to my main YouTube page. On the right is a button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.